Hey everybody, Lewis here. It's about 2 o'clock in the morning and I'm not sleeping, so I thought I would come out to my garden. And I just came up with a great idea that I think it's a great idea, so I'm going to share it. I have this jade tree that I absolutely love, but I think I want to do something with it. I think I'm going to turn it into like sort of like a little bonsai, but I'm not gonna put any wire on it or anything. I want it like a big bonsai tree. I think it would be a really cool thing to do with it. And I also want to create more jade trees from this one because it's absolutely gorgeous, but I think I want to do something with it. I want to do something more interesting with it than just let it go wild, because I have another one over here that I put into this Japanese planter. That is sort of a bonsai. I know it's not exactly a bonsai, but I don't really take the time to wire it and all that stuff. So I am not gonna do that. But what I'm gonna do with this jade tree is I think I'm gonna trim it very soon. And I'm gonna clean up the bottom so it looks like a tree. And then I'm gonna take all of these cuttings off completely. And then I'll figure out what I'll do with the cuttings. I'll probably turn them into like maybe 20 trees or 20 jade plants, maybe more than 20, because there's a lot. And then I'm gonna leave the top of the tree and maybe one or two branches on the side, but I want the bottom clean, like if it was a regular tree. And that's just something that just hit my brain today. So I have to do it, or else it'll just keep bothering me. It'll just be in my brain the whole time until I do it. So pretty soon I am going to start doing it. I asked my wife to get me some pruners because I don't have any pruners. All of my old tools are either in storage or I might have given them away. I don't know what I did with all my old stuff. So I just bought myself a nice little pair of pruners. I think they were like $15. I think that's what my wife said, that she found something that will be here in a couple of days. And I'm just gonna go ahead and do it. I'm just gonna go prune it and I'm gonna turn it into something that I like. Because here it's gorgeous, but it's not what I want, you know? I want something very cool. This is all natural, but it doesn't look cool, you know? I mean, I still love it. Don't get me wrong. I absolutely love it. But I think I could do something very interesting. And I've never done it before, so it's going to be a learning curve. And I'm going to videotape the whole process so that, my YouTube friends could learn with me as we go along. And if we make a mistake and I by any chance kill some of these branches, what are you gonna do? If you're gonna make an omelet, you have to make an egg. You have to break an egg. I know I'm not gonna kill the main tree, and I might hurt some of these branches, but I'm pretty good with plants, and I think I can do it. So I am gonna do it. And that's gonna happen very soon. This is the way my garden looks at 2 o'clock in the morning. I love being out here at this time. That's the only good thing about not sleeping and suffering from insomniac or whatever the heck it is that I suffer from. These are my peppers that I planted a week or two ago, and I made a video of it. The good thing about not sleeping is that I come out here at night and I'm all alone in the world, and there's nobody that'll bother me or say anything or be loud, and the dog is not barking, and the world is so peaceful. And I love this because, you know, in Miami, it's always chaos. There's always major traffic, and there's a lot of rude people around, and I try to avoid them. I've even stopped playing poker lately because I just can't handle the morons that sit at the table with me sometimes. And I have a form of Tourette's where I have to be clearing my throat and it sounds like I'm coughing. And a lot of times people are very rude to me. You know, men think that they can be rude to me because I guess I look like a wimp. And then, you know, I show them that I am not a wimp, and most of the time it's them who are wimps, you know, and they don't know how to respect people. So, you know, I show them who I am, and then they all, you know, they freak out sometimes, but it doesn't matter, you know. But that's the reason that I love to be out here at night by myself, where nobody judges me, you know, when nobody thinks less of me. They're not racist against me. They don't, you know, I am a Native American. I am an Indio. I am a Latino Americano. And unfortunately, I have experienced a lot of racism, mostly from the Cuban community. And it still happens. It still happens, and it's sad because, you know, my siblings are basically Cuban. My mother's from Honduras, but my mother married a Cuban. So they're basically Cuban. You know, my wife is Cuban. Her whole family is Cuban. And I experienced racism from my wife's side of the family. When I first got together with my wife, we had a beautiful relationship. It's like we just hit it off big time. We were inseparable. But then I met her mom, and she was horrible against me because I'm from Honduras, I think. She was horrible. She treated me horrible, and she was so racist. And the things they would do behind my back and the things they'd say, you know, and the thing is that I hear everything. I pick up on everything that's going on because of my childhood, I think. And I remember one time we were playing pool in her garage. My wife used to like for me to go visit her at her house, whatever. So we're playing pool, and I always used to beat him because I was a very good pool player. Extremely good. I was a little bit of a hustler when I was a little kid in Miami Beach. Because I needed to survive. I did a lot of stuff in my life. And you know, we're playing 4 people. I don't know who it was, but it was my wife, who then was my girlfriend, her mother, myself, and somebody else. And I remember her mother asking her, like, are you with the Cowboys or the Indians? You know, and all my wife said was, I'm with whoever wins. Because my wife was afraid of confronting her mother. You know, so she, you know, she didn't really defend me much back then. I think she was just afraid of her mom, or who knows. And she also has an uncle who was very racist against me and was horrible, but he acted horrible when I wasn't around. What's his name? Oh, Julian. You know, and Julian, the worst thing is these people act like they're better than me, superior to me, and I always let it go. But you know something? This guy Julian, you know, he would cheat on his wife, and he would act like he was holier than thou, but he was just a stupid loser. Is a stupid loser. He would cheat on his wife, and whenever I would leave the room, he would say horrible things about me, and my wife never told me. And then one time I heard him say, because he said it while I was there, that I couldn't get a green card with Camille. That I you know, there was no green card there. You know, first of all, I don't need a green card. I was born and raised in the United States of America. You know, but he was so stupid because of his ignorance. He didn't know anything. So when he did that, I put my arm around his neck, and I said, I believe I said, you know, let me think. Oh, I said in Spanish, tú eres un perfecto come mierda. You are a perfect shit eater. And immediately, because I was ready to grab him, and really I was gonna kick his ass and then, you know, never go back to that house. I mean, I was gonna beat the shit out of him. I was I don't know how old I was, maybe 23 years old. He was a man in his 40s. And I studied Kung Fu. I worked out my whole life. I knew how to use weapons. You know, and it's something that I did because it was my hobby. I wanted to join the military when I was a kid, so I trained like I was going to join the military, and I just knew how to defend myself, and I never had to hurt anybody in my life, but I was going to hurt this guy. But immediately when I told him that, he started going, yes, I am. I'm a shit eater. And I did it in front of everybody. There was like a gathering, a party. And I just did it in front of everybody. I didn't give a shit. But he wimped out. He pussied out. And he didn't do anything. So I just said, screw this. And I just walked away from him. And then he never, ever said anything again. That's how much of a pussy he is. It's crazy. And her mother was so racist and horrible against me for absolutely no reason. And they thought they were better than me. And not that I want to judge anybody, you know, people are who they are. But my family, my mother was a newscaster in Honduras. My father was a very famous newscaster in Honduras. You know, we had to come to this country for political reasons, where my mother struggled and had to clean houses and do all that kind of stuff. And my wife's family, they were maids in Cuba. They cleaned houses. You know, I don't know how many generations. You know, and yet they want to judge me because I wasn't Cuban. It's crazy, you know, it's crazy. You know, and my wife was the sweetest person. We had a great relationship. You know, she fell in love with me and we had a wonderful relationship. But it was tough. My relationship has changed now with her mother. It's changed. You know, we've been together 30 years, and at one point I severed relationships with her, and we didn't talk for a couple of years, 2 or 3 years. I don't know how long it was. And then one day she decided to, I guess, have a relationship with me, and she came over to our house without saying anything, and I was cool with it, you know. But it was very tough. It was horrible. It was horrible the way they treated me, and that's them who I was dating their daughter. Imagine the Cuban community that aren't related to me in any way. They have always, not all Cubans. I have met one or two very, very nice Cubans in my life. More than one or two, especially female, but also some males. But overall, the Cuban community is very racist and they're two-faced. And I'm sorry to say it because I was raised with Cubans and I am basically a Cuban. I mean, I'm not, but I've been around them so much, and my family's Cuban and my wife is Cuban, that, I know what it's like to be a Cuban. I know their community. I know their society. And I hate to say something negative because I know that there are very nice, very decent Cuban people out there. But unfortunately, a group of them ruins it for everybody else. It's horrible. Especially with their political beliefs, and they think they know something about politics and they don't. It's crazy. I'll talk about one of these people that is like close to family with my wife, who the other day just started insulting me. Something about, I don't know, Republicans and Donald Trump, and that started saying that I've never worked in my life and that I wouldn't know anything about work or about education, or I wouldn't know anything about anything because I have been taken care of or whatever. Like he thought that for some reason that I had never worked, that I lived off of welfare my whole life, and that I had no education. The truth of the matter is that the uneducated one is him. The one that lies to himself is him. I forget what his name is. I think it's Kichi or something like that. Kachi or Kichi. I don't know. His family is very, very nice. His mother-in-law is one of the most beautiful people I have ever met. She's this awesome Cuban lady. Her father-in-law is amazing. Her sister-in-law is one of my favorite people in the world. Her name is Betty. Very sweet woman. I mean, she was born here in the United States, but she's still Cuban. My wife was born here in the United States, but my wife is still Cuban in a way, I was born in the United States, but I'm still Honduran. But I take it one step further. I totally identify as a Native American, as an Indio. I'm a native, I'm an Indian, and I am very proud of who I am. And I'm very proud to live on my ancestral lands. And that is something that these people don't understand, and it's not the majority of them. They just don't understand it. And that's been like that my whole life with the Cuban community. Unfortunate for me to say, because I know so many Cuban people that are awesome, but it's usually the males, that I have dealt with, that have been a pain in the butt. Females are usually very nice and very sweet, and sometimes there's very, very cool males too. And I don't know if if I should even be saying this, but it's my channel, and for some reason I'm talking about that now. It's how I feel. And I will say whatever I want on this channel. I am who I am, and you can't please all of the people all of the time. And you can please some of the people all of the time, but you can't please all of the people all of the time. And I'm just here doing this YouTube thing because I'm really enjoying it. And I want to help people with whatever I can, especially with depression and nightmares. In the future, I want to talk about nightmares. I am very good at helping someone who has nightmares because I had horrible nightmares from my childhood. Horrible, horrible nightmares. And I've gotten over it, you know? And, you know, I know what I went through and I know how I got over it. And if I can help people who are suffering from nightmares, I'm going to. And I'm going to be very happy to do it. Because, look, I'm 55 years old and I still can't sleep, you know? And that's because of the generational trauma that is embedded in me. It is what it is. And anyway, this jade tree is going to be beautiful. I know it's going to be beautiful. It's going to be gorgeous. And I'm going to have a whole bunch of plants that I could give some away, that I could grow more. And maybe my garden will just grow. So what? So what? I have lots of dirt, and I'm going to go over to Peter's house to get some of the small planters. And I'm going to take him a bunch of big planters that I found in a trash pile. And the world's going to keep turning. It's going to keep turning, and I'm going to be here for another day. Anyway, everybody, thank you for listening to me. Thank you for hanging out with me in my garden. And, you know, I want to thank the subscribers that I have. Thank you for joining me. And you know, sometimes I say stupid things, and it is what it is. I am a human being. And thank you for joining me. Please subscribe to my channel and help me build something awesome. And, you know, have a great night, and please be kind to yourself. Always be kind to yourself. The kinder you are to yourself, the more accepting you are of yourself, the more praise you give yourself, the better you are going to treat other people. I know this. I have had a lot of therapy. I have been to Al-Anon for many, many years. There was a point in my life when I was just suicidal. I had running thoughts all the time, racing thoughts. I would cry by myself. I wouldn't leave my house. I suffered from horrible, horrible depression. And I'm over all that. And if I can help other people the way I have been helped, I want to help. You know, the more people I help, the more help I will get from anybody. I will get help from the universe. I will get help from Mother Nature. I will get help from people. I know that because that's the way it is. It's karma. Good night, everybody.